Hello, so welcome. It's lovely to be part of this United Wellbeing Festival, and a big thanks to Dan and Lorna and the Awareful crew for organising it. I'm Claire, and today I'm going to be guiding a somatic movement education class. So this is kind of on the lineage of functional integration. So if you've ever heard of the work of Moshe Feldenkrais or Alexander Technique, it comes from kind of similar background. And it's work by someone by the name of Thomas Hanna, so Hanna Somatics. And he developed from his studies heavily into Moshe Feldenkrais's work, somatic movement education. So the class is based around that. So somatic comes from the word somatikos in Greece, which basically means entire living being or organism as perceived from within. So relating that to ourselves, it's a place where we're basically wanting to bring in lots of awareness internally to what's going on for us individually. We work from that as a basis. It's very meditative. So if you do have problems sitting still, then this is really useful as well, because we bring slow, mindful movement. It's very slow and controlled, the somatic movement, and it really does give your mind a break from the million thoughts that you have a day, because we're just focusing on sensation of movement. So today it's really useful because we use the movements to release tension within the body. So a lot of pain in areas of the body can come from muscles that are contracting and don't know how to relax, that are tense. And so it's the movements, it's called an education, movement education, because the movements are provided to you to be able to do yourselves intuitively, to be able to identify where you have kind of stuck or very tense areas, sore areas, and to use them as a technique to help release that tension off and to ultimately become pain-free. So it's quite a stressful time at the moment with the issue going on with COVID-19 and the whole uncertainty around it. And so we can find actually that we are more in pain than we might usually be. And it can be for a number of reasons. It might purely be for a physical reason, because we are perhaps home working. So we're sat for long hours at home, probably not with maybe the full correct ergonomic equipment that we need. And so we might not be sitting as well as we could be, kind of slumped, and then that can just cause physical issues. And also because there's generally more anxiety around because of the issue of the uncertainty, and people try to juggle so many things. So if you're trying to homeschool your children on top of working, or you've got the financial burden of not working, so many things going on. And as soon as we're anxious, then we don't generally breathe as efficiently and as relaxed as we can, using the main muscle of breathing, which is the diaphragm. So we can end up just creating so much tension in our neck and shoulders. So you might notice if you're kind of sighing more than usual, you're getting tension headaches, just naturally kind of putting your hand to your chest kind of more than usual might be a sign of that kind of stress and anxiety. And then what we do is a kind of more of a shallow, when it's an anxious breath, and you use the secondary respiratory muscles rather than your diaphragm to breathe. So they assist with the breath, but we end up using them more. And so we kind of use the intercostal muscles more, the trapezius, the scalenes, and then they can become very tight and sore because they're being overused. So for every psychological reaction that we have, so if we're continue listening to bad news, or if we get some bad news, or if we've got to meet a deadline from work, there's a physical reaction to that. And that's quite normal. And they're called stress reflexes. So there might be a physical one if something is being thrown at you, you haven't noticed it, you kind of crouch to either protect yourself, or to you might catch the ball or whatever's being thrown, or that you're unexpected, or you might need to crouch and duck. And that is a physical type of stress reflex. Okay? So our body reacts very different. Motor sensory neuron paths kind of work to sense where that is and to make a reaction, split second. And that's fine, we come back from that after that's happened. But what can happen is we get stuck in these stress reflexes because we are anxious, and also maybe because we're looking at phones all day, so we're kind of holding ourselves in that startle protection reflex, is what we call the red light reflex in somatic movement. Okay, so you're kind of shortening, looking at screens all day, all the way through the body. And when we're not breathing efficiently, and then our muscles get stuck in this position and they think it's normal to be there. So if we get stuck in stress reactions, our body can take it from voluntary control into our subconscious part of the brain, and think that it's normal. Okay, so we can hold in different areas of the body. So what we're going to do today is with somatic movement, we have a lovely relax on the earth. We sense into how we're feeling in general, how we're feeling emotionally, how we're feeling physically, kind of accept that. And then we move from there with a sequence of movements, and we check in with ourselves after we do them, just to see if we can sense any differences, any changes. And the more you practice this kind of bringing awareness into how you're feeling, the better you get at it, basically. And the idea is to use the breath to relax off areas of tension within the body, and also these movements. So rather than looking for a stretch when we do them, we're going to be using something called a pandiculation. So this is to help to relink the mind's control with certain muscle groups. So when it's basically when you're stuck in an area, or as we do the movements, you might kind of get a sensation of being jerky, jittery, or maybe weak, not quite connected when you do the slow movement. So that's a sign that you haven't quite got the connection, that efficient connection from the motor sensory cortex of your brain through the neural pathways to those areas of muscles. And so that means that you potentially have got motor sensory amnesia, where you've forgotten that connection. So we'll slow down. If you feel that, you just kind of want to slow down and try and smooth out the movement to regain control. And the pandiculation helps you regain control. So there's 3 parts to it. The first part is we will slowly contract into a muscle group, and we contract and shorten enough so that it fires into the motor sensory cortex of the brain so we can take voluntary control back. We very slowly lengthen the area, and the third stage is to just completely relax and release. And that gives your body time to understand what you've just done for the resetting, okay, for that release. All right, so I don't want to talk too much more, but I wanted to give you a background. So there are some principles to this that I'm going to run over of the somatic movement. The first one is we never ever want to move into pain, okay? So you're taking some responsibility by doing this session with me and feeling what you feel within your own bodies. You are the ones that are best placed to know what's going on because you're feeling it. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it, okay? If it's aggravating, it's started to cause pain, don't go as far in, okay? Don't take the movement as far. Just go to the very edge where you can feel sensation but not pain, okay? The second is we want to be as relaxed as we can, and it's more about being in the movement than it's actually doing it. We don't have to think that there's an end goal, okay? It's more about being and unraveling in the movement. And so we're kind of tapping into our body's own intuition about how to move functionally and how to regain that function and control in certain areas of the body. Okay. And also when we do the scan, we don't want to be critical. We're not looking to be critical or judgmental in any way. Okay, we're literally taking in information, just allowing us to sense. Because then we start to build up knowledge about what's going on within. And then you're in a much better position if you have knowledge to work from as if you don't have any understanding. And then you can, as time goes on, listen in and work out where you might need to do more in one area or less, because you're inevitably just trying to find equilibrium and homeostasis within the body and sensing for that, okay, to kind of equal out. So you might do more on one side that's kind of tighter within parameters outside pain than the other side to equal things out. Okay, so you may, if you have got a blanket or a flat cushion available, they're good to have nearby. A yoga mat, if possible. If not, it doesn't matter, just somewhere comfortable on the floor. Keep warm and comfortable. And then lay yourselves down on the earth. So we're going to do a scan. Okay, so you want to lay yourselves down on the earth. If you can straighten your legs, great. Okay, if that is not comfortable for you, if it gives you any irritation or discomfort in the area of the lower back, then just place the soles of the feet on the earth. Not too close to the buttocks. They want to be about half leg distance, hip distance apart. And then roll your thumbs up and over and just take the backs of the hands to the earth, palms facing up. Okay. So ideally we want our chin and our forehead and our chin to be pretty level. If when you're laying, okay, when you naturally lay, you find that your chin is a lot higher than your forehead, then just nothing too high, but just take a folded flat blanket or cushion and place it under your head so that you feel like your forehead and your chin are more level. Okay, you don't want it too high because then you'll end up with the opposite. Okay, the forehead way higher than the chin. Close your eyes and completely relax into the earth. So just surrendering the weight of the earth, the weight of your body even, towards the earth. And just let the earth come and meet and match the weight of your body. And then so you really can just surrender and yield. And then as you lie here, just begin to notice how you're feeling. So as I mentioned before, we're going to do a little internal scan. Nothing is right or wrong. Don't feel you have to correct or feel that there's anything to correct in any way. It's just an exercise of perception. So allowing yourself to notice how you're feeling and let yourself be okay with that. because we're in a constant state of impermanence. Everything passes. So how you're feeling right now will probably be different to how you feel tomorrow or the day after. Nothing is permanent. And then take some attention to the feeling of the weight of the body and how it connects to the earth. Bringing your attention to the area of the head and just noticing how the back of the head is connected either to your cushion or directly to the earth. And just notice whether it feels like it's centrally pressing down or whether there perhaps might be a slight rotation from one side or the other. And then taking your attention to, within the head, the inner face and the jaw. And just notice how they feel and whether you can sense any tension there. Let's visualize taking a breath into the head and to the inner face. And using the expanse of the inhale, just visualize the whole area expanding a little. And on the exhale, just really relax. So let your jaw drop and release. Let the eyes just relax softly into their sockets. The cheeks become soft. And the skin on the brow begin to soften, so no furrows, and relax. Then taking your attention to the area of your neck and just sensing how that feels. Let's take a breath into the whole area of the neck, so visualize creating space on the inhale, relaxing, releasing, letting the neck lengthen on the exhale. And then moving down to focus on the feeling of the shoulders and how they're connected to the earth. Just notice whether they feel connected on each side in a similar way, or if there are any differences. Does one side feel heavier or lighter than the other? Moving on to the arms, sensing where the upper arm bones are connected into the sockets in the shoulders. Noticing how they feel. Do they feel connected in a similar way on each side, or different? Moving on and thinking about how the weight is falling through the arms, how the arms are grounded to the earth. And then the backs of the hands. Does one feel heavier or lighter, higher or lower than the other, or the same? Can you sense where on the back of the hand is connecting most to the earth? And consider on both sides. Does it feel like you're grounded closer towards the little finger, the middle of the hand, or the thumb? Is that similar on both sides or different? And then just sensing where each thumb is in time and space. And noticing if that perhaps gives you an insight into that rotation, the relaxed rotation through each arm. Moving to consider the mid area of the back, either side of the thoracic spine. Does the pressure to the earth feel similar on both sides? Or can you notice any differences? And then considering the sides of the waist. How do they feel? Does one feel longer and looser, or shorter and tighter than the other? Then considering the area of the lumbar lower back. How does that feel? Does the natural curve of the spine, does it feel quite long and relaxed? Or does it feel perhaps tight and quite strongly curved away from the earth? So a fair distance from the lower area of the spine and the earth. Does it feel different in sides? And then, how is the pelvis connecting to the earth? Does it feel like it's evenly supported? Or is there more pressure through any particular area than another? How do the upper leg bones feel like they're connected into your hip sockets? Is there a feeling of them being connected in an even way, very similar? Or do you sense any differences? And then how is the weight falling through the legs to the earth and through each heel to the earth? And then just consider the angle of the feet in time and space. And that give you an indication of perhaps the rotation through the legs into the hip sockets. And becoming aware of your breath. And just sense where you can feel the breath within your body. And then perhaps where you are unable to feel your breath within the body. And then just begin to sense if there's any particular areas of the body that feel less comfortable than others. So that could be exactly that. It could just be a sense that it's not comfortable. It could be a feeling of the area being tense, or perhaps tight, locked, sore. So just let a particular area come into your awareness. Don't worry if there aren't any, that's fine. But if one comes into your particular field of awareness, just begin to notice whether you can sense any breath there, any subtleties of breath. And then let's visualize taking breath into the area. So take a nice deep inhale and just think about the entire area filling with the expanse of the inhale in all 4 dimensions. So filling the entire area, top to bottom, sides. And on the exhale, just allow yourself to relax and release and surrender. The exhale helps you to connect with gravity to the earth and yield. Let's do that again. So inhale. Think about expanding the entire area with breath, 360 degrees. And on the exhale, just try and relax, release any tension, and surrender that area to the support of the earth. And then let's now breathe into the entire body. So as you inhale, just visualize the entire body filling with the expanse of the inhale. So 4-dimensionally, the top, the bottom, the sides, taking the breath all the way to the crown of the head and the soles of the feet. And on the exhale, completely relax, release, and surrender into the support of the earth. So now we're just going to take our feet, if they were along the floor, then just bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet up hip distance apart. So don't have them too close to your buttocks. Okay, you want to feel like the weight's falling evenly through the soles of the feet. If you have them too close up, you'll probably feel like the weight's more in the toes. And if they're too far away, you might feel the weight's more in the heels. So you want to get the sensation of even weight through the soles of the feet. And then just bringing your hands initially onto the front wings of your pelvis and allow them to completely relax there. So we're going to begin to pandiculate, release tension from the muscles around the lumbar spine. And we're going to do that by arching and flattening the spine. And we do it by rocking back and forth nice and gently on the back of the pelvis. Okay. So take an inhale into your belly. And as you do that, just begin to rock forward on your pelvis to take your buttock bones in the direction of the floor. And as you do that, you've got your hands on the front wings, you'll find that the wings and your hands are moving towards your thighs. Okay, so they want to move towards your thighs. You're rolling towards your tailbone, creating an arch in the area of the lumbar spine. Don't move into pain, okay, please. So just come to where it's comfortable. And then on an exhale, slowly roll back. So you're rolling back now to the back rim of your pelvis, lengthening the muscles along either side of the lumbar spine. Okay? Only come to flatten to where it's comfortable and not looking to go to full range of movement. And then find to what feels at ease, your neutral between the two, and relax here. So the 3 stages of the pandiculation. Let's go again. Inhale into the belly, be as relaxed as you can in the legs and all through the pelvis to roll forward onto the lumbar, not onto the lumbar, sorry, towards the tailbone, creating that arch, so the space between the floor and your back. So you're tightening, contracting the muscles of the lumbar, first stage of pandiculation. Exhale to slowly rock back on the pelvis, nice and controlled. Okay, to where it's comfortable for you, so you get the sensation of lengthening through those back muscles as you flatten. The second stage of pandiculation. And then find the neutral of the two. Take a deep inhale and exhale and relax here. So that gives your brain time to understand what you're doing. So releasing the muscles of the lower back. Let's do that again. Inhaling. Rolling forward on the back of the pelvis. Not coming to full range of movement, keeping at ease with the movement. And as you roll back, we're trying to keep the movement as smooth and as controlled as we can, so really slow. And if you notice any jittery or clunky areas, you can roll back and forth, so just feather in and out to try and regain control, to make it smooth and sequential. So flattening. And then completely resting. Okay, just take 2 more on your own time. If the breath, inhale, rolling forward, and exhale, rolling back works for you, that's fine. If it's confusing you, don't worry about the breath too much. Just focus on rolling back or forward and then back on the very back of the pelvis. And then relaxing. Try not to grip in your legs or your feet too much as you roll. Try and relax as much as you can as you roll forward. Doesn't matter if it's only a few millimeters, it's fine. Get the sensation of flattening the back towards the earth. And then come to rest. And then relax the hands down. And just take a moment there to rest in the shadow of that movement. And just notice any sensations. So now we're just going to roll over and come onto our fronts. So hopefully that's comfortable for you. And then just put one arm in front and the other arm on top. And just rest your forehead onto the top wrist. And just relax completely off into the earth. And then just focus on your breath here. So just take some nice deep relaxed breath into the belly. Leaving your arms on the earth. On the next inhale, with your inhale, just allow the head to lift off the hands a few centimeters. And on the exhale, slowly bring the forehead back down to rest on the hands. And relax. So we're continuing with the pandiculation, releasing tension and gaining, reconnecting kind of functional control through the back muscles. Okay. So we're working on the upper back muscles here. So try not to grip through your abdominals as you lift up or through the arms or shoulders too much. We're focusing on using the upper back muscles with our breath. So inhale, you don't have to come up very far. Try and keep the movement nice and smooth as you inhale with your, inhale lifting a little. Only take it as far as you can control the movement. If it starts to get really shaky and uncontrolled, don't go as far. And exhale as smoothly and as slowly as you can, taking the forehead back down to rest on the hands and relax. Okay, let's do another one. Inhaling. Let that inhale help to lift you up. And just sense what you can feel working within the body as you lift. What's working and what you're controlling as you exhale and release back down. Okay, just do one more in your own time. Inhaling on the way up. Trying to keep the movement as slow and as controlled as you can. Try not to brace in the abdominals or press in the arms too much. Letting the back muscles do the work. And exhaling as slowly and as controlled as you can to take the forehead back to the hands and completely relax. Okay, we're going to leave the head down now and we're going to think about working from the legs. So if it is firing up any kind of pain to lift the leg off the floor, don't lift your leg off the floor. Keep the foot down. We're going to work with the right leg first and just lift the knee away from the floor. In fact, let's do that first. So take an inhale, you keep the head down, just lift the knee away from the floor. And then slowly relax it to ground to the earth. So that might be enough for you. So if it is, just stick with that. Otherwise, if you want to go a bit further, we're going to inhale and imagine that you're actually lifting the leg from your upper thigh bone, not your foot. And you don't have to come very far. Stay within a controlled range of movement. So inhale, begin to lift the right leg from the right thigh bone. So you're trying to stay within connected, controlled movement. And then very slowly on the exhale, slowly, take the leg back down again. And when it touches, completely relax. So find a moment of melt to relax into the earth. Okay, let's do the left one. So knee first, just the knee lifting away from the earth. And then slowly taking the knee back to the earth. And resting. So it's subtle movement. Then if either just the knee again, or if you feel like you can go further and it's not causing any pain, bringing the left leg up, moving from the left thigh bone, and controlling it as best you can on the way down, so it's slow. And when the foot touches the earth, completely allow yourself to melt into the earth. Okay. So if that feels right for you, we're going to combine lifting the upper body and the leg, or the knee together. If it feels too much, just stick with one. Okay. So lifting, we're on the inhale, the upper body, as well as the right leg, or just the right knee, and then controlling as best you can as you lower. Remembering if it starts to jitter or get shaky, it's a sign you've got motor sensory amnesia, so you haven't quite got that connection from the brain to the area of the muscle groups. So you can just maybe come in, feather in and out a little bit to try and smooth out and regain control. And then slowly release down and find that moment of melt. So the resting state in your pandiculation. Let's do the other side, either just lifting the knee or the leg and the upper body, or just one of them if it feels too much to lift both parts. So we're pandiculating the muscles on the upper and lower part of the back. And then completely relaxing. So we're going to lift the head on just both knees this time. So keeping the feet on the floor, lifting the knees away from the earth as you lift up. And slowly and controlled releasing off back to the earth with the exhale. Okay, if you feel up to it, we're going to lift both legs. If it doesn't feel right for you, don't lift them. Just do the chest or just the knees. Inhaling, or one leg, And exhaling slowly. Controlled as you can, lowering those legs and the head to the earth. And relaxing. Okay, one more. So if you just did one leg, do the opposite now, or the knees, or just the upper body, whatever feels right for you. Just controlling as best you can as you slowly lower back down to the earth. Relaxing completely. And then take your hands to the earth, fingers forward by your shoulders, and we're just going to push back now onto all fours. So keep your hands and knees where they are. Okay, then we're going to really slowly push back into a child's posture, yogic child's posture. But I want you to do it slowly as you can, taking the buttock bones back towards the wall behind you. And then have a sense of the lengthening through the area of the lumbar as you do that. So really reaching the buttock bones, the tailbone towards the wall behind you, nice and slowly, lengthening. Okay, lengthening through the lumbar, through the side body, through the arms. And then you can begin to creep the hands up if you need to come back. Just take one forearm on top of the other, relax the head down. And just resting here, letting the whole of the spine lengthen. Okay, then we're going to turn ourselves around and come into our original scan position. Okay, so whether that was your feet on the earth, so that's how we started our first scan, if it's comfortable to have the legs along the mat like you did originally. So trying to replicate the original scan position with the backs of the hands to the earth. Close the eyes. And then just become aware of how the weight is falling through the body to the earth. Noticing any differences from your first scan. Don't worry if you can't notice any differences, it doesn't matter. If you can, then just acknowledge them. Noticing any sensations that you can perhaps feel from the echo of the movements. So now we're going to work with the shoulders a little. So just come onto one side. Okay, so if you're doing this for yourself, you kind of be sensing into what would feel like your tighter side. It's good to start with that first. And then you might want to do more on that side than your other side. Because then when you go back into your scan, you're looking to always try to kind of sense to bring a feeling of equilibrium through your body. So we're going to lie on our side and we're going to imagine that we are sat on a high back chair. So you might want to have a flat cushion or folded blanket close by. All right. So imagine we're in a high back chair. So you want your knees to be directly in line with where the thigh bones come into the hip sockets and your ankles directly under your knees. So it's as if you're sitting on that chair. Okay. And then lie yourself down on one side and then just take, you want ideally your neck to be in line with your spine. So you don't want it too high up, okay? You just want something flat so you can lie on, so you've got that feeling of the neck just elongating naturally from the spine. And place top hand on top of the bottom. Okay, try not to let the head roll in and out of alignment from your spine. So you want your head kind of in line with your shoulders, in line with your hips. And relax. Okay. So we're just working with the muscles around the shoulders and the shoulder blades now. And also taking it a little bit into the rib cage and spine. So we're just going to slide the top hand forward over the top of the bottom palm and then slide it back a little and then bring palm to palm and relax. So let's do that again. And you want to feel like you're moving from the areas that are closest to the trunk of the body. So hit your upper arm bone. So from your upper arm bone, slide your hand forward and then just think about what might be happening with your shoulder blade on the back of the body. And then sliding back and kind of sensing how that feels through your shoulder. And taking the hands back. Okay, one more. Sliding forward. Slowly sliding back. Just sensing in what's moving in your body and assisting you to do this movement. And relax. So what I should have mentioned at the start is that you want to be lying down so that you can actually lay your arms out, fully outstretched to your sides. Sorry for not mentioning that earlier. And here also, only come as far as is comfortable. If it starts to cause too much discomfort or pain, don't go as far, okay? So you're going to slide your hand forward, again at the bottom palm, and then as you slide back this time, really connect that arm bone into the socket in the shoulder, and then begin to let the arm lift up, and just bend the elbow a little bit. So we're lifting up, and now we're going to start to roll through the shoulders. So you start to roll through this bottom shoulder, shoulder blade, so you come towards the center line of the spine. Okay, notice what's unraveling through the upper body, so your rib cage has probably started to move, getting a sensation of moving through the belly. And then begin to relax the upper arm shoulder blade to the earth, and then the back of the arm. So if it's not comfortable for you to take the arm all the way down, don't. You can always put a cushion or something underneath this to support the back arm, rather than taking it all the way to the floor if that's not comfortable for you. So you slowly, sequentially place the arm and the back of the hand down, and then just let your head turn to look to that top arm. And then we're going to come back from there. So sequentially begin to lift the hand, the forearm, the upper arm, peel the shoulders away from the earth. Nice and slowly, so you're rolling on the back of the head as well. Bring the top arm to hover palm to palm, and then as slowly, as controlled as you can, take the top palm down to relax into the bottom palm. And surrender into the earth and find your moment of melt. Okay, let's do that again. So sliding the top hand forward. And think about lifting the arm by sucking the top of the arm bone into the shoulder socket and let it gently lift with a bit of a softness in the elbow. And then as we begin to roll through the shoulder blades, we're also rolling through the back of the head nice and smoothly. So as slow as controlled as you can, just let that movement unravel. So you're being in the movement, not doing it, with as little effort as is necessary to do it. So resting, you might have a cushion under that back arm if you need it, or not taking it all the way, it's painful. And then relaxing the forearm, the back of the hand down, the head just to look where it's comfortable to look. And then slowly and sequentially peeling the arm, the shoulders back off. Again, if you find you've got any areas of motor sensory amnesia where it's jerky or disconnected, you can feather through the movement to try and regain control. And then bring palm to palm. and relax. Okay, so one more in your own time. Just sensing which parts of the body are helping to stabilize you to do this movement and to help you do the movement. Just letting the kind of spinal twist unravel nice and sequentially. Just try to be fully aware of the sensations that you can feel as you move through. And relaxing. Okay, we're going to do a different one this time. We're going to slide the hand forward again. We're working slightly different muscles around the shoulder girdle and arm. And then slide back. And again, just have a sensation of sucking the upper arm bone into the shoulder socket to help lift the arm up. And this time we're going to take the upper arm over the bottom arm. So you kind of more or less got your shoulders stacked a little. And then keep the hand and arm fairly relaxed and then move through the upper arm bone again to slowly reach the fingertips up towards the sky. So you're lengthening the arm bone out of the shoulder socket a little. And then very slowly and smoothly draw the arm bone back in to connect into the shoulder socket. Then begin to slowly turn the hand, like through the arm, so the back of the hand is facing behind you and the front of the hand is facing forward. And then as slowly as you can, bring the back of the top hand down. So again, feathering out if you've got any lack of control or jittery movement to try and regain control. And then when the top hand reaches the bottom hand, turn palms down and relax. Okay, let's just do one more of these. Sliding forward and then back. Lifting up the arm, being relaxed in the arm. And take the movement from the arm bone up, nice and smooth as you can. Back down, so we're trying to regain functional control. Turn the back of the hand forward. And as slowly, as smoothly as you can. Take hand to hand and palm to palm and relax. And then we're going to take our scan position again. So it's always good to do the scan, particularly when you're doing one side then the other. Again, to close your eyes, relax, rest in the echo of the movement. And just notice any sensations that come up where you can feel them. Notice any difference between sides, so the side that you've been using and haven't used yet. How do the shoulders and arms on each side feel like connected to the earth? Can you notice any differences? Okay, let's do the other side now. So again, imagine that you're on your high back chair. You want to keep your head in line with the shoulder and the hip, arms out in front. Okay, relaxing, being as relaxed as you can through the movement, being in the movement. You want to feel at ease when you do the movements. So just sliding a couple of times, top hand forward and back. And just noticing what is moving in your body and assisting you with the movement. Another time, sliding forward. And just noticing as we do this, we kind of check in and notice if we can notice if there's any differences from when we did the first side to now. Okay, this time, as we draw back, draw the arm bone into the socket and allow that to help lift the arm up, soften the elbow. We're going to roll through the shoulders and the back of the head. Remembering, so it might be very different on one side from the other, that's normal. It's normal to not be totally symmetrical. If you can lay the arm down with comfort and ease, then you do. Looking towards that top side. If not, rest it on a cushion or don't take it as far. And then sequentially, nice and slowly peeling back up, rolling through the arms and the shoulders. Coming palm to palm. And again, you take your rest. And then going again. And just enjoy that sequential unraveling. So opening up to twist. Perhaps a sensation of freedom and openness through the chest. Sensing whether you've really got any less or more control over this side than the previous side. Finding a moment of melt into the earth, the surrender. One more in your own time. Okay, we've got the second version now. We slide forward. Draw the arm bone in. Let the arm float up. Relax it off. Slowly as you can, moving from the upper arm bone, reaching the fingers up. You don't have to come to full range of movement, just feel comfortable where it's comfortable. Slowly draw the arm bone back into its sockets. Turn the hand so the palm is facing forward. And as much control as you can, feathering out if you need to. Take the back of the hand to the palm. Palm to palm and relax. Doing one more, just sensing or being in the sensation and the awareness of the movement. Smoothing it out. I like to have my eyes closed because I can sense more. But whatever feels best for you. And then relaxing. And then just bring yourselves back to a scan position, your original, mimicking the original scans, whether that was the legs along the mat or the feet up, perhaps a cushion under your head. And just sensing how you're feeling now. And if you notice any comparisons now that you have done the movement on the other side too, how do the shoulders feel like they're grounded to the earth? And the arms? What part of the backs of the hands are connected the most? And does that differ between sides? How does the back of the head feel like it's grounded? Does it feel like it's evenly connected to the earth, or is there perhaps a slight rotation from one side to the other? Check in with the inner face and jaw. Has any tension subconsciously crept into the jaw or any other area? Use your breath to release. Visualize taking a full deep inhale to create space, enjoy the expansion, and on the exhale completely relax and release. Taking your scan down to your mid area of your back. How's the weight falling through that area to the earth? Does one side feel higher, lower, or the same as the other? How about the side waists and the area of the lumbar spine? Do they feel relaxed? Noticing how the weight's falling through the pelvis to the earth. Does it feel like it's evenly connected to the earth? Or does the pressure feel more or less in the bottom part, the top, or either side? How is the weight falling through the legs and the heels to the earth? Does one feel heavier or lighter, higher or lower than the other? How's the angle of the feet? Do you sense that they feel the same on each side or different? Does that give you any insight into the rotation through the legs? Where can you feel the breath within your body? And can you sense where perhaps you can't feel the breath in the body. Let's take a deep inhale, visualizing filling the entire body with breath. Right from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet, the top, the bottom, the sides. And on the exhale, completely relax, release, and allow yourselves to surrender into the earth. Acknowledging how you're feeling physically and how you're feeling emotionally. Noticing any differences between when you started the session and now. And just allowing yourself to be acceptant of that. Just bearing in mind that we are in a constant state of impermanence. Now it's up to you whether you just like to carry on and continue in a state of relaxation for longer and just enjoy that feeling of being safe and supported and relaxed and at ease. Or otherwise you can just, in your own time, slowly begin to bring some movement into your body and move intuitively. So nice and slowly, don't get up too quickly. Just to bring yourself to seated. So thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed today's session. And I've got to sample lots of the lovely workshops, classes that are on offer on this amazing festival. It's been great to be part of it. And if you would like to know more about somatic movement, then you're welcome to contact me. I have a Facebook page, which is Clue Yoga and Somatic Movement, which is CLU Yoga, YOGA, and then Somatic Movement. And I also have a website. And my email address, I think, has been sent to you if you want to message me. Thanks very much. Take care.